Hello everyone. Today I've got 3 more fantastic horror books that's going to make the rest of your TBR scared that they're even in there. That's how good they are. These 3 definitely you want to pre-order. They're all coming out next month. They're all absolutely terrifying in their own way, and I think you're going to love them. But first, let's get right to the heart of the matter here. The winner of the giveaway from my last video, I spun the little random selector wheel thing online, and the winner of the free copy of the ebook DIY Exorcism by David Washburn is, I don't have drum roll effects, but it is That Horror Chick. So I will be getting a hold of you if you're watching, or if not, I'll contact you anyway to get the information I need to send it along to David so he can send you your free copy of his awesome book. So thank you for everybody who participated, and congratulations to That Horror Chick. And as a reminder, I have horror books for sale also, and if you want to check any of those out, there's a link down below where you can do so. And don't forget to check out my Patreon. There you can get all my books for free, my future books for free, free books from other authors every month, and free short horror stories every month. So it's a good deal, one tier. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link down below for that. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called A Nest of Broken Bones. This is just a creepy, terrifying, sometimes bloody, supernaturally charged horror story, I guess you can say. There's something going on, let me put it that way. And it's about a woman. Her name is Mallory. She's a very successful romance author. She lives outside in the outskirts of a small town on a ranch where she's very secluded. And she's secluded because she lives there with her son. Her son seems like a typical little boy most of the time, except he's never stopped growing since he's been born. He stands head and shoulders above everybody else, and he's still growing even at 5 years old. He's also gotten very strong, like way beyond his years. And he's a typical boy in a lot of ways. He even eats, for the most part, regular food, but that doesn't really sustain him because every couple months he has a hunger for something else. The only thing that will satisfy his hunger, actually, and that is blood, flesh, and bones. Mainly of human beings. We'll find out how he was born. We'll find out about his father. We'll find out about how his mother found out about this condition, I guess you can say, he has, and all that. But the important thing is that Mallory has to go out, lure people back to her ranch to be food, to be dinner for her son when his hunger bubbles up and becomes almost unbearable. Now you might think like she's a bad person for doing this, but the thing about this book is that she is a very sympathetic character. This is really about a mother's love for her child and the horrific things she will go to keep her child safe and alive, even if those things are terrifying, even if those things are extremely wrong. But she is conflicted. She is sorry to the people that she has to do this to. She's very, sympathetic toward them. But one day she lures 3 young college kids from out of town over to her ranch and chains them up in the basement and in a barn because her son has to feed like this at least once every couple months. So she decided to get 3 of them so she didn't have to go out and do this for a while because it's weighing heavy on her mind. But one of those that she kidnaps, one of those college boys, happens to be the nephew of the sheriff in town. Now the sheriff and this woman have kind of a history. They've crossed paths before, and every time they've done that, it's had something to do with her son. So to say the sheriff is a little suspicious of them is an understatement. And now with his nephew's life on the line, of course, He's going to be focusing almost fully on her and her son, and this is eventually going to lead to bloodshed and terror and a horrifying situation. And the end of this book will just wreck you. It is so bittersweet, you know. And that's what I love about some of these books. The endings just get you right in the old feels. And like I said, you can't really hate the son because he is born this way. This is what he needs to survive. And you can't really fault her because she's doing everything she can for her son. And if you're a parent, I think you'll understand that, which makes it a very emotional book. But it's also got all that great creepy atmosphere, and it's got all the blood and the guts and, and everything like that, as a book like that should, you know. This one was absolutely wonderful, fantastically written, very well paced, and it's one of those you don't want to put down once you start reading it again. And I think you'll absolutely love it, and there is a pre-order link where you can pick up your copy in the description. And next we have Misery Plaza. This one's also coming out next month, and this is a Western that is unlike anything you've ever read. Part Western saga, part horror slash sci-fi, I guess you can say. Because it's about a man and he really doesn't have an identity. He's done some very horrible things in his past. He's been a rustler, he's been a thief, and he's a murderer. He's killed people. He's trying to change his life. He has a wife now. He has 2 sons. He decided to turn his life around, work at a mine, until somebody from his past pops up, and now he's got to be on the run again. But his wife is going to die before that can happen. So now he's heartbroken. He knows he's in danger of being chased because he doesn't know what his ex-friend told anybody, because you can't trust anybody in those kind of situations, you know. So he takes his kid and he's on the run. He's going to find a homestead that belongs to his wife's father. And those two do not get along at all, but they have an arrangement because of the kids. And while he's digging for a well, to put a well in his house one day, he's going to uncover something in the ground. Something that has been in there for thousands of years. Something which he has never seen before, doesn't know what it is. And when he opens that hole, when he discovers this thing and gets in there to start exploring, he's going to accidentally, this is going to cause him to accidentally unleash the alien entities that have been sleeping in stasis in there since they crashed to Earth thousands of years ago. And they're not too happy about that, let me put it that way. And all of a sudden this becomes an alien invasion mixed with this great Western, and there's a marshal that knows who he is, knows where he's staying. He figured it out, and this marshal is absolutely, he's methodical, he's very cruel, he is solely focused, and this is going to play into some of the things that happen when the aliens start attacking and killing and murdering and just making those streets of that town run red with blood. Because even after they wake up, they know they have to fulfill their mission that they were sent before they can go back to their home planet. And this one gets wild. This is an epic book. It's got, if you like Westerns, you're going to love it. If you love science fiction story about aliens, you're going to love it. If you love horror, you are going to love it, of course. And that's one thing I really appreciated, how he blends all those things seamlessly, and his writing is perfect in this one, you know, gives you all them old Western vibe feels, and then just turns it into something completely wild out of anything I've ever read in the Western horror genre before. This one was absolutely fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Highly recommend it. And as always, there's a link down below where you can pick up your copy. And next we have The Rotting Room. Ooh, this is a historical religious horror novel set in, I believe, the 17th or 18th century, somewhere in there. It takes place at an abbey where our main protagonist, she is a nun. She was sent to another abbey when she was very young to get an education from her. Her parents are wealthy. They sent her there to get an education and to dedicate her life to God, to be a bride of Christ. And that's all she's known since she was like 12 years old. But something happened at the last place she was in. Something you'll read about, and it is terrifying. Sacrifices and bloodshed and all kinds of evil things that don't belong in a church. The Archbishop discovered that, shut it down, but gave her an opportunity to move to this abbey here. And this place has certain rules. They live their lives by the sound of bells, each one meaning either prayer, they have to go to work, they have to eat, they have to do their meditations, and a vow of silence 23 hours out of every day. They're only allowed to speak for 1 hour a day during their recreation time. But this abbey has a very disgusting ritual that it's been performing for forever. It's like part of their history. The bodies of their dead, they put in a room with like a toilet seats. They set them up in a chair that has a hole in the middle, the dead people, and they let them rot. And as they're rotting away in this hot, stifling room, their liquids drip down through that hole into a bucket. And I'm not going to tell you what they use that liquid for, but it is disgusting. Delightfully disgusting. You'll have to read about that. But this is going to cause her to start rethinking her life with God. Things are going to start happening that makes her think these women, these other nuns and the Mother Superior are not actually worshiping the God that she's worshiping. But then again, she has a history of having a fantastic imagination, which was kind of frowned upon by her family when they first sent her to the other rectory or the other abbey. And so we have to decide if she's an unreliable narrator, because we're reading this book from her perspective, first person perspective. And she's very honest with her feelings when we're inside of her head. Well, we're going to find out if it's all in her imagination or if something very, very twisted and very, very sick is going on in that abbey. And you'll have to read about it to find out. I'm not going to give away the answer, but oh man, this one is just a great historical horror fiction. It's got everything you want in a religious horror. A woman totally dedicated to this life, totally dedicated to being a bride of Christ. And then everything in her life just seems to be going wrong. And there's a priest, a male priest who comes in every day to give Mass and communion. He's got some secrets of his own in the past, and he's going to play a part in what eventually transpires. And yeah, you'll just have to read about all that. But it is absolutely fantastic. I love this book. I just finished it last night before I made this video. And I figured I'll put this one up there because it's coming out next month. I had to talk about it. And if you like religious horror, if you like historical horror, if you like very twisted, as I said, delightfully disgusting things, this is the book for you, because I've never read anything like that. And it is truly, don't eat anything while you're reading this book. That's all I'm going to tell you. She did a fantastic job with this one. I absolutely loved it. Of course, I highly recommend it. And there is a link down below where you can pre-order your copy. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.